Well, welcome back then, Utrecht viewers. I'm now joined with Alex, fresh off that, I hate to say it, that beating in the 2019 World Swap. But now we're going to be back in the standard format here today, and we have a star-studded matchup here, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. We've got two fantastic players ready for you. One, we've seen, actually both players we've seen many times on stream before. We're going to have a native to the Netherlands. Brennan Cameraman's going to be on stream for this feature match, up against an Italian in Kim Pobega. Both playing decks, you know, at the top of this current meta game. You know, one is playing Lugia, and that'll be Kim, and Brennan himself will be playing a Lost Box variant, won't he?
Yeah, Brennan, obviously a big connoisseur of the Lost Box variant. It looks like he's playing the amazing Rayquaza version, which, you know, sure is a fan favorite that Rayquaza have been able to just up-trade. And let's look at these prize cards there. So for Brennan, I don't see anything too outrageous, actually. Energy Recycler could be impactful, but he does play two copies of All One himself. And then Kim does prize a Lugia and a Powerful and an Archeop. So
nothing too crazy, nothing you're complaining about, but we are about to get started for our game one of our round 4 matchup, and it looks like Brennan's kicking us off, starting with that Manaphy in the active spot up against Kim's Lugia V, and Brennan opening with the ideal card, that Battle VIP pass.
That Battle VIP pass. Everyone's invited to the party, baby. Let's go. You have to imagine Brennan's probably finding either Comfey or Comfey Greninja, you know, any combination of those cards. And as we've seen in the last round, Last Box just wants to grow their hand as soon as possible so they can build towards Mirage Gates or even Boss's Orders play, as it were, anything like this. And worth noting, actually, Brennan does play 2 copies of the Manaphy. So while that one in the active looks a little bit vulnerable, Brennan can just put down another one to defend himself from that amazing Rare Raikou.
Yeah, exactly. As we do get to see Brennan going through his deck here, he's going to be doing everything possible to understand what's in his deck, what are his outs in this matchup. It's a matchup, obviously, he would have been testing and played many times before. Loads of people bringing Lugia, of course. But I do see, like, certain little tech cards in Kim's list that I'm looking forward to seeing in play at some stage. You know, don't want to spoil too many surprises. Once we get a chance to have a little look through the deck, or if Kim pulls out the surprise, it'd be quite fun to see. But yeah, Brennan going straight into his first flower selecting of round 4.
Yeah, immediately getting a quick ball in the lost zone with a scoop up net and back off to the races. And, you know, the magic number here for Brennan really is 7. You know, obviously 10 for the Sableye is great, but 7 opens up Mirage Gate, which then turns on the amazing Rare Rayquaza, which then also allows you to Mirage Gate onto amazing Rare Raikou, which actually hits Lugia for weakness. So one thing to keep an eye on there. And here we see a tough decision here. Escape Rope and Sableye. It's like Brennan opting to keep the Sableye. Don't mind it. Well, an absolute crazy one energy attack that is. Wow, that's a power stance right there. Raikou plus the lightning energy.
That's a threatening board from Brennan's side right now. Saying to Kim, you're going to have to find a way to deal with what I'm presenting in front of you. You know, you're going to have to find that Manaphy. You're going to have to find that Dunsparce. Those little tech cards that we're beginning to see a lot more consistently among Lugia lists, as Kim now does get a chance to go through his deck with that Evo Incense, because he's going to look to try and, set up his board. Of course, going second, not ideal for Lugia. We always know and understand you have to get evolved up to the Lugia V-Star to use that Summoning Star ability, but it's a little bit vulnerable in the first turn, especially when you go second.
Yeah, so now looking through Kim's list, Alex, you're keeping me in suspense there. Talk to the viewers about some of these lesser seen cards in the Lugia list that Kim is playing that could actually be really impactful in this matchup. Yeah,
so we're just having a little look through now. You've already mentioned the amazing Rare Raikou. One card that we do see in Kim's list is that Canceling Cologne, as we do see Kim going through his deck to kind of begin finding out again what tech cards he has access to as well. So that opportunity to have the Manaphy in the active spot, use Canceling Cologne and potentially take 2 prizes. You know, that's how Lugia V-Star wants to be active against a Lost Box deck, because they're typically only single prizes. But the other interesting card, and I think we have flicked through it as well alongside that Irida that we just saw at the front of the deck, is actually a Sharon's Care.
Yeah, that
with Lost Box having to always 2-hit or 3-hit. just heal it up.
Yeah, no, 100%. I really like the Cheren's Care, actually. Like you said, because, you know, Lost Box tends to, for the most part, like to spread damage around with Sableye or spit innocently to bring the Rayquaza in. And Cheren's Care lets you pick up a colourless Pokemon with damage counters on it, with it all into your hand. So it does, you know, pick up all the evolution pieces, picks up all the energy, but most importantly, it will obviously remove damage from players. So that's something that Kim, I think we as viewers have to keep an eye on. And bear in mind, you know, that is a supporter card, which means it's always going to be searchable via Lumineon, which Kim obviously does play. And here we see Lumineon for Irida, which was Manaphy and Evolution Incense. So Irida, again, a real interesting card, allowing you to search for cards at a whim. Most likely could be that cancelling Clone, which is obviously really good in this matchup here.
Great utility card, because it does play like the water Pokemon as well, so you can pick up those Lumineons, you can find the Manaphys, as well as picking up those kind of one-off tech cards that Kim may be playing in his list, or other Lugia players may be playing in their list. So just kind of almost like an overpowered Skylar sometimes, just to be able to get a water Pokemon, because Lumineon is so important again in this matchup. It helps save those energies by taking knockouts with its Aqua Return attack, dealing enough there. And of course, Lugia also gives it an opportunity to be able to draw additional cards with its first attack as well. Not ideal from Kim's side. Typically, going second, Lugia lists want to be able to put a second one down. Yes,
because that actually leaves Kim a little bit vulnerable here. If Brennan can get to Mirage Gate, we could see the turn 2 amazing shot, which would actually KO the Lugia V via weakness, because there is no way. Is that a Dunsparce or that man? Oh, it's a Dunsparce. Ignore me. That is a Dunsparce. It's hard to tell those characters. These are really good-looking cards, but this far away, so ignore me. we will not be seeing any amazing rare Wildcard KOs, unfortunately. Over to Bannon now. Has got 5 in the Lost Zone already. Hasn't even played support. Oh, but it looks like just the 2 flower selectings and a pass. So interesting. So Kim will be thinking, okay, Brennan might not have the greatest of hands and or combo pieces there.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of reactive cards in Brennan's hand right now. I think I might have seen a Raihan, Battle VIP pass, a Sableye, you know, things that aren't quite active yet. But Kim straight away evolving his Lugia V to that Lugia V-Star with that Evo Incense in hand already. I'm not too sure. He does have double Archeops already in the discard, so we do see the V-Star Summoning Star ability to bring both of those Archeops onto the bench, and we already see the first Primal Turbo of round 4.
I'm intrigued to see if Kim goes for like the pay retreat into Aqua Return, because at the minute the bench is kind of clogged. There's no space for any other attackers, and it looks like we are going to see the Aqua Return. That's what's so good in Lugia decks when you can play Luminion, is that you can effectively just be like, all right, let me grab my supporter, let me use the good part of Luminion, and then I can just remove it from play as well. So then letting you often in Lost Box try and promote a one-prize Pokemon, you don't really mind taking a hit. So we even see the Wash Energy get attached to the Manaphy there, which it stops it getting Sableye.
That's very true, yeah. Great call there. And I think the Lumineon, the extra utility to not only bounce itself back into the deck, taking 1 prize, but it means it's active again for later turns. So being able to maybe grab that boss later or another supporter later, it's just fantastic in a deck like Lugia, just because those energies allow you to play that variety of attackers. And, you know, now there's only 1 energy on the board, and it's not really too bad. If anything gets knocked out, you know, you won't be losing too much. But he does initiate the prize race. So on to Brennan to see how he's going to be able to cope with Kim's essentially strong turn 1, turn 2. Yeah, well, we know Brennan definitely has a Raihan in his hand. So worst case scenario, you can always play that, but Brennan's going to want to try and get to 7 cards in the Lost Zone first, so then you can try and... Oh, here we see the Colrus. Okay, so it's going to at least get Brennan to 7 cards in the Lost Zone. Let's see what options take that. So Ordinary Water, I saw a Colrus, a Quick Ball. I think that's quite a good Colrus, actually. I think there might be too many good cards there. The Greninja, 2 Colrus, Greninja, Ordinary Rod, and Quick Ball. Wow. Yeah. Too many good cards there, I feel. Ordinary Rod is the first choice to go there. I mean, Brennan sort of considering just being able to take cards out of his deck with that Quick Ball as well, that extra utility, chooses to Lost Zone that Greninja, which we've seen so many times as such an important card for consistency options. I guess he's also wanting to remove that Battle VIP pass out of his hand, so decides to take the Quick Ball just so it doesn't clog it up. You know, Kim could still trying to utilize some of those supporters like the Marnie to try and shuffle and sort of reduce the amount of cards in Brennan's hand. So really interesting decisions there, honestly. Now he's got back-to-back choruses, though, for future turns, because he's got two more that goes to hand. So, yeah, let's see how he's going to navigate this matchup, because, like I said, he's currently on the back foot right now.
Yeah, really interesting. You never, like you said, you never really see Greninja of all cards hit the lost zone, but I think in that exact strange scenario, it was the right play. And here we see Bernard. It looks like it's going to end the turn with a spit innocently, 110 damage. It does have 8 cards in the lost zone now, which is a good number, you know, getting towards that Sableye. Like I said, that Sableye cannot pick off that Manaphy, because the Washing Energy is attached, obviously. 110 damage there is nice, you know, brings the Lugia into range of other attackers. So let's see what Kim does. Does still have that cancelling clone. So I believe we'll be trying to work towards a boss plus cancelling clone play at some point. But as it stands now, not 100% sure if that's going to be possible, in combination with a Raikau, obviously. Yeah,
and also still has that out to potentially a Sharon's Care at some stage as well.
Good point.
Just taking out that Lugia V-Star out of action so that it doesn't get knocked out, and also reduces Kim's board to just single prizes. Maybe another route that he could look to try and utilize. There
it is, the Sharon's Care. Look at Brennan's face. Oh, okay.
That's a big surprise.
Wasn't expecting that. Essentially just removing Brennan's last turn. Think about the tempo, especially in like Lost Box, which, at least in the early turns, is really trying to set up damage really, you know, meticulously. All the damage matters. Being able to just completely remove a turn of attacking is huge. And it's just, I thought it was a Stoutland. I was about to say, oh my goodness, this is getting ridiculous. But no, it's a Lugia V.
Yeah, for the moment, we'll just stick with the Lugias for now. But it's a fresh Lugia on the bench now, still protected by the Dunsparce, protected by the Manaphy for the time being. You know, we're having the first Primal Turbo here. Let's see how Kim utilizes his energies and onto which attacker. But that Sharon's Care, like you said, just nullifying that whole turn by Brennan. Brennan thinking maybe I can go straight into another Pokemon to take that 2 prize KO on a following turn, start leveling up the playing field because he's already behind by 1 to jump over. So just by doing that, that gives Kim an extra turn.
Yeah, exactly. And then maybe it looks like it might be even trying to debate with take the care of Archeopsis, even a 1 prize of Inactive to take this 1 prize as well. Looks like that's exactly what's going to happen here. So that really puts Brennan in an interesting scenario here. I'm intrigued to see what it does, because this Archeops, while it has its weakness removed, cannot be KO'd by the Raikou. Forcing, you know, like an Amazing Rare Rayquaza, but you don't want to be doing Amazing Rare Rayquaza for 1 prize card. That's so costly. Kim, strong turn there.
Yeah, this is really in Kim's favor at the moment. There you go, with the knockout, with the speed wing attack, I believe, with the Archeops, dealing plenty of damage to knock out that Cramorant in the active spot. Brennan immediately promotes the Confade Chorus's experiments first. This gets more knowledge as soon as possible as well. So let's see, again, a number of interesting cards there, like a boss. Yeah,
boss, second Manaphy. Which is interesting because Brennan isn't to know that there is the cancelling clone combo, so there is a very high chance the Manaphy gets KO'd, and now the second one is gone. So, which could let Amazing Rare Raikou start running amok. But we're really intrigued to see if this Archeops here survives the turn, actually. I mean, it's quite beefy at this moment in time with, what, 150 HP, I believe. So it's outside of Sableye range, outside of Raikou range, because weakness is turned off thanks to Dunsparce. Like I said, the only way Brennan can immediately respond is with the Amazing Rare Rayquaza, but that is super costly.
Yeah, just not the most efficient attacker in this scenario. You know, just that amazing burst attack from Amazing Rare Rayquaza. Requiring 3 different energy types for 1, so it has to utilize the Mirage Gate, but it's 80 times the number of basic energy types that you discard from the Rayquaza itself to deal enough damage, and you would have to discard 2 of them, right, to deal 160, and that's the only way right now. It doesn't play anything like what we've seen with other Lost Box, the other Snorlaxes. But it looks like Brennan's gone down the route to maybe start targeting down other Pokemon. Or maybe just start softening it up, setting things up to make it a little bit easier. That's still one route to do so. But potentially means if Kim's able to get a knockout in the next turn, he will be 3 prizes behind.
Yeah, that's quite a steep place to be. I wonder if Brennan's going to lose this Lost Mines, maybe KO that Dunsparce to turn weakness back on potentially. Then maybe spread the rest of the damage onto an Archeops then?
So many options.
Yes.
I mean, if he removes the Dunsparce out of play, the Amazing Rare Raikou is going to be hitting those Archeops for weakness as well. Yeah. Kind of, again, looks like he's sort of prepping it. You know, saying this is what you have to deal with at some stage, at some point. Obviously, the Manaphy is, as you mentioned so correctly, being protected by that wash energy as well. So, generally protecting most of his deck and board from the current scenario. So, does choose to put the 6 on the Dunsparce. Let's see how he's going to navigate this turn as well. Looks like he's targeting down a Lugia. The final 2 damage onto the active, bringing it to 130 HP.
I tell you what, this actually opens the door here, because I think Kim has boss cancelling Chloe in hand. Gets the Ultra Ball, we could see the Amazing Rare Raikou this turn. We could see that, right? You can boss up the Manaphy, bench Raikou because you've got the Ultra Ball. We could see it as a disastrous turn there for Brennan if he pulls off. I wonder if that's what he's going to do. So my eyes would be widening right now.
Yeah, I think both of us are glued to the screen to see whether this is a play that Kim wants to do right now. Of course, he'll know that a lot of Lost Box lists don't typically play hand disruption cards.
Yeah.
So he can try and save that combo for later.
To close the game out, maybe.
Exactly. But let's see if he just wants to pull himself ahead. Who knows?
Let's see. I think it's a strong turn. Right. It's not be bright.
Here it is. It's bringing it to active.
Boss cancelling Cologne. Are you having me on, Sunshine? What a crazy turn that is. Normally we see cancelling Cologne be used more so for like the Duraludon matchup, right? Or even Aerodactyl V-Star, even something that Brennan's brother, funnily enough, loves to play. But here we're seeing it turning off Manaphy. Oh my goodness.
Let's give it a moment.
Maybe.
Let's see.
I'm getting ahead of myself there, chat. I apologise. I'm really excited right now.
Let's reel him back in a little bit. But for the moment, it looks like it could be a massive play. Or it's also targeting down. The Stoutland's another way to take 2 easy prizes as well, with the powerful energies. Yeah, so many options to potentially take two prize attacks.
Yes, yeah.
Looks like he's maybe we're waiting for it. We're hoping it happens. But here's both the Primal Turbos onto that Stoutland V with that amazing attack, which allows you to take additional prizes. That
little double dip fang. I actually don't mind this play as well, actually, because then I guess both ways work, right? You can take the 2 prizes now, then close the game with Boss, Manaphy, Raikou, or you can do it the other way around, take the 2 prizes, then close the game with Stoutland. You could argue that this way is probably better because then you can always do Boss Manaphy next turn, but then if Brendan was to promote like a big 130 HP Pokemon like the Rayquaza, for example, it could be hard to get through with Double Dip Fang. So I guess Kim, you know, very good player, talented player, probably spotting the weakness in my game plan and going for his one instead.
Yeah, good man. Glad you called it out. It was exactly well put there as well, because it essentially is, he's only got the Sableye in front of him right now. So the Double Dip Fangs will allow him to do that, take the additional prizes very easily with not too much, you know, having to commit with the powerful energies right now. And it just simply means that he just sets up that boss cancelling Cologne play afterwards. So yeah, fantastically called, I think there. And yeah, as you mentioned, Kim's already identified that as well. We see the retreat into the Stoutland, and it will be that that dog that's just going to be taking down that Sableye, and I think Brennan's seen it as well. So we do see.
This is really interesting. I was about to say, sorry to cut off there, but with Kim getting the win there, is that Brendan now doesn't know about the cancelling Cologne.
True.
So I was going to say, is there an argument for Kim maybe not even going for that cancelling Cologne there, being in such a strong position? Maybe said, I'm going to hide this to try and get a little surprise there in game 2. So really interesting little wrinkle to watch out for there is that Brennan has no knowledge of that cancelling Cologne, so could come up there in a game 2. But wow, what a victory there. I know we alluded to those sort of tech cards that we don't normally see in Lugia, like the Chairman's Care, coming in super handy. Yeah,
super clutch. Just being able to just remove and nullify a whole turn is a great play.
Yeah.
Because typically when you're being forced and put under pressure by a Lost Box deck, with all that damage counters, particularly if you're playing V Pokemon and they're all over the board on your bench, for example, it's easy for them to take multiple prizes.
Yeah.
But just by utilizing Sharon's Care in a list like this, particularly with Lugia being such an important staple, of course, in this, and utilizing the colorless effect of the Sharon's Care, it's great to see. But it's got additional tech cards in this list. which means, and as you mentioned it, because it's not shown, there's actually also Professor Burnett in there that we haven't even mentioned as well, alongside a cancelling clone. So it's really interesting to see what kind of cards he's actually kind of maybe cut to try and put in these tech cards as well.
Yeah, it's really interesting, you know, looking at the list there. Like, we don't see stuff like the Bird Keeper, which I almost say that Bird Keeper is almost a staple in Lugia lists now. But now it looks like he's not playing that, opting to go for like the Chervin's Ken, Professor Burnett. And let's have a look at these key to the matchup here. So if you were Brennan, you know, you have to try and utilize the Raikou and the Rayquaza to try and, you know, one-shot Lugias, try and, you know, and maybe now that Brennan knows that Chervin's Care is an option, maybe just try and Oko the Lugias. And then looking over there for Lugia, like we said, try and use a Stoutland to take final prizes. And I actually saw Luminion being used there as well. But it looks like the game has started, the prize cards have been laid. Not looking too crazy as Brennan starts to turn off. Yeah,
he's just got that comfy flower selecting in the active spot already. Does have the Manaphy and the Cramorant bench as well. Playing very quickly, of course, knowing that he's already one game down. Some time has already gone from this series. Just has the one card in the loss zone from that flower selecting just by kicking off. Kim opening things with a Luminion again. Just giving himself a chance to look for his deck and his prizes. From what we can see from our lovely elevated position of all the prizes, nothing too crazy again. A few energies, sure, maybe in the higher spots, which typically you don't always get. Maybe the Lugia V-Star, because he only does play the 2 copies. But generally with a number of outs to Evo Incense and Ultra Ball, he should just be okay. But, you know, touch wood. That's Kim's going to be thinking, generally, I'm in a good spot here. Goes for the Irida play again, turn 1, which is fantastic to see.
Yeah, I really like the Irida in the Lugia decks because it sort of gives you, instead of it all being, you know, crazy dump and draw and relying on what you draw into, you know, letting you have a little bit of search over a deck. And, you know, combos really well with cards like Lost Vacuum and or Cancelling Cologne. But one interesting thing when I look at with Brennan's prize is it actually has prized 2 copies of Scoop Up Net, which could make it hard to maneuver around flower selectings and get that loss zone, you know, up into the 6, 7s and 8s, even up to 10. And Brennan did only get 1 in the loss zone turn 1, so it could be a little mini game there for Brennan. He needs to accelerate that loss zone at a fast rate, I feel.
Yeah, and I guess...
Is that the burn it in hand, sorry?
Potentially. But just thinking back on Brennan's side for the moment, I mean, he's staring down at Amazing Rare Raikou right now, and that typically doesn't get switched out because with a lot of Lugia lists, doesn't play too many switch cards. And it's quite a nice HP for that menacing Cramorant on that bench there, which, you know, after this Chorus experiment with that easy Battle VIP pass choice, he will go up to 4 quite simply. And then it's just being able to find one of his other 2 Scoop Up Nets or his switch carts, or just get an energy. And then be able to just take out that opportunity for that Amazing Raikou to take 2 prizes that we mentioned with the Cancelling Cologne. You have to imagine that if Brennan wows the Greninja next to Greninja's thinking, what on earth am I doing here for 2 games? Not used to that. Why am I in this deck? You're just sending me to the loss zone. But like you said, though, if I was Brennan, if I can get rid of this Amazing Rare Raikou with a Cramorant, that's such a worry. Like, I just get that gone. Like, I don't want to deal with that. And at that point, you don't even have to worry about Cancelling Cologne. No, exactly. Yeah, Cancelling becomes pretty useless. Maybe then Kim will have to discard it at some stage. Brennan will understand, oh, this is what I'm actually up against, and that's the concern, as we do see the Cramorant come into the active spot right now. That Lost Provisions ability allowing it to attack with no energy cards attached to it, so it will be able to spit innocently for 110 damage with such efficiency, and taking the first prize of game 2. I think we might see the Professor burn it here, you know, because I think unless Kim top decks something good, the hand was a bit trash, had a load of energy in it, right? So I think we might see burn it to get rid of 2 Archeops in the discard pile, and then we see the Lugia V start already. And there it is, yep, the Professor burn it. Not something you see every day. Really big staple, funnily enough, in the next format, in the Lugia decks, but something, you know, you can't be too surprised to see in a Lugia deck, because it works really well. Let you discard any 2 cards from your deck, just gets rid of the Archeops, they just get bing bing straight back into play. And now, all of a sudden, Kim is straight back in the race, and Brennan's thinking, oh, my goodness. I mean, Kim didn't have a crazy explosive turn 1, and now, all of a sudden, it's firing all cylinders. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it's great to see Kim be able to do this in both games so far, only really needing to utilize 1 Lugia V. Yeah. Like what we mentioned a little bit earlier, you know, when you go second as a Lugia player, you always have it in the back of your mind, could my Lugia V go down?
Yes.
So I will always try and get the second one down. But in this case, in these scenarios, we've seen Kim just not even need to think about that.
Yeah.
Such is the consistency of the deck to be able to just get those Archeops into the discard as soon as possible, and it was, as we do see with the Luminion as well, just being consistent in taking the Irida and the right cards, right pieces, right combo pieces that he needs, and again leveling up the field with that Aqua Return attack and just protecting those energies again. We have the Mana Fee once again with that wash, which is great to see, because that Sableye is on the bench right now, looking to threaten that board.
Yeah, Sableye just menacing there. You know, Sableye does need another 6-card and lost them before it can utilize that bonkers Lost Mine attack, which lets you put 12 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon anyway. Like, obviously, the Wash Energy just completely shuts the door on that, at least making it so those Lost Mine damage counts have to go somewhere else. But it does have another Colress, though, really nice to see. You know, Colress is sort of backbone of these Lost Zone decks. So strong, in fact, you even see decks like Arceus Duraludon, which has no Lost Zone synergy whatsoever, opts to play this as their supporter of choice.
Yeah, just seeing 5 cards and then depending on matchup, being able to Lost Zone 2 that you may not necessarily need is such a strong card in this format right now, and you know, still likely to be super strong in the next format too. So it's a card that's, you know, it's just got so much potential to support other decks as well, as we do see the 2 cards from that choice and the Flower Selector. Now there's one of his other Scoop Up nets that go into the choice of Flower Selecting as well.
Is worth noting that the Lost Zone is now at 7. That means those Mirage Gates are now online, meaning we could see some crazy shenanigans. I think Brennan might have 2 in hand. 2 in hand. Yeah. So does he have a way of... There's a quick ball. Are we going to see an amazing Rayquaza, amazing burst KO here?
Yeah, amazing burst, that ATX, the actual energy types that are discarded from the amazing
it looks like this is going to be a big hit here. Worth noting, Kim does have the V-Guard energy attached to Lugia, but amazing Rayquaza is not a V Pokemon, so that has 0 use in the defense here from this Rayquaza onslaught. 2 Mirage. Oh my god, has Brendan got actually 4 different colors? One, he has.
He's got plenty.
He's got all 4.
Yeah. Brennan is playing the 5 flavors of energy in his list. Really being able to stretch for certain attacks or certain HP Pokemon, but with just, as you see, the first Mirage Gate coming down, I'd imagine the second one shortly joining it as well. Because, as you mentioned, the Rayquaza does have free energy costs to actually be able to attack, a Grass, a Lightning, and the Fighting, but such a... Oh, hello. The Psychic is going on to the Sableye.
Oh, okay. So let's have a think. Maybe Brennan's gonna...
Maybe an energy from hand as well?
Yeah, yeah. So must have energy from hand. Yeah, has to be, right? I'm gonna say, because we're not at Lost Mine yet. So, I mean, you could... I don't even know Lost Mine. Can you even use it if you're not at 10? But so I imagine it must have 1 energy in hand there. And that's Brennan's defense again. There it is. And there's Brennan's defense against Chevin's, basically saying, I'm not going to let you move damage because I'm going to send you straight to the discard pile. It's going to be a big old swing here.
It is a massive swing, because obviously now taking 2 prizes, going very far ahead into the race, means that Kim's going to have to find now still multiple ways to take 2 prizes quickly. And with his amazing rare Raikou already taken down, one of his avenues isn't available to him.
And like this Rayquaza has, what, 130 HP, I believe?
120.
120, so it's going to be outside of range of Double Dip Fangs, so there won't be any shenanigans there. And this is the... And looking at Kim's side of the board, it doesn't look that great, but as long as Kim has access to a Quick Ball, all of a sudden, Quick Ball finds your attacker of choice, plus 4 energy, and you can go off to the races again. But as it stands here, now that Rayquaza is quite hard to actually reach into here. What do you reckon is the optimal attacker here? It's going to be another Aqua Return, maybe? Or?
It's very possible that he can just Aqua Return. It'll be then trying to work out which Pokemon he could bounce into, which is, I don't think, the easiest choice. But he does, obviously he still has other attackers, right? He's still got the Radiant Charizard, he's still got Yveltal, obviously not using Yveltal because you don't want to be too inefficient when you're attacking with the energy cost that you have. The Double Dip Fang, Stoutland V isn't quite live to take out this Rayquaza because there's 1 powerful energy in the prizes right now. So Luminium V seems like the most, smartest decision, maybe. But he'll have to try and start to thinking about how and which Pokemon he bounces into, because he needs to be able to somehow still absorb an attack somewhere.
Yeah, and this is where sometimes we see the Snorlax will come in super handy in this kind of scenario, where you can either use that to spin into or even use that to attack. But it looks like Kim's going to be setting up the Speed Wing. We will need one powerful colorless to actually get to that threshold damage, I believe. The Archeops
does 120.
Oh, there's 120. I apologize. So it does already hit there. But, okay, looking to
spread his single prize attackers out now. He's used both Primal Turbos. So, yeah, it's one of those things where I'm not quite sure now. I'm just actually quite interested in how he's going to be able to do this. I guess the powerful energy helps if Kim has the DT in hand, because that has the reduction of 20, and the powerful helps bring it back up to 120 as well. Potentially looks like we just have a maybe a card sleeve which is just split. So I think they're just going to go get a spare. That's what we believe at the moment. That's otherwise Kim wouldn't have just run off the stage. But yeah, it looks like he's just getting a replacement sleeve.
That is a top tip for anyone watching. If you come to a regional, always have spare sleeves, because this, you know, you might get a little ding, you might get a little split. You just want to have another spare one. Be like, hang on, just give me a sec, give it the old 1-2. But I'm really confused as to why you'd attach powerful. Was the powerful from hand, or was it a Primal Turbo?
I believe that was Primal Turbo.
So maybe it has a DTE in hand then, because you're not going to want to pay retreat, right?
That's what I was beginning to mention a moment ago. Because if it's going to reduce it by 20, you need that extra 20 again to kind of stretch to the 120. So now, yeah, he's just taking the knockout here with Speed Wing, dealing enough damage to knock out our Rayquaza, of course. Brennan's side, I mean, again, it's a bit of an awkward Pokemon to try and take out.
Yeah, it is.
From what Brennan currently has access to. We'll have to potentially look at trying to use Rayquaza again, but again, it's not the most efficient use of his attackers himself. So yeah, let's see how this.
That's a tough choice there. That flower selecting Colress or Raihan. Raihan will obviously allow you to attach your energy and then computer search any card from deck, but Colress lets you have a 5-card dig, and I think you have to appreciate the situational use of Raihan here could be stronger, as Brendan decides to choose that.
Yeah, just getting those energy attachment from the discard to one of your Pokemon is such an important way of maybe reusing the amazing rare Rayquaza back-to-back or multiple options. Already has a Chorus Experiment in hand as well. Just, I think both players just double-checking exactly what's going on.
Yeah,
but
how many Colress have been used, I think.
Yeah, and whether a support maybe have been played. But, yeah, absolutely fine. As we continue, we do see Brendan just there choosing to Lost Zone that Oranguru and the Battle VIP pass, which, of course, we know is not as useful anymore. Plenty of cards in hand as well. Combo pieces galore in Brendan's hand. Typically what you see in Lost Blocks anyway. I wonder if Kim will be looking for the opportunity to somehow disrupt him with something like one of those Marnies that he plays.
Yeah, I think because that hand is getting starting to spiral out of control here. Worth noting, Lost Zone is now at 11. That means Sableye is now alive. And I wonder if Kim... I mean, obviously these Archeops are most likely going to survive. Oh wait, there's no... Is there a Dunsparce in play actually?
Not right now.
Oh, okay. Right now. So we could see a Kawan Archeops with Raikou.
Yeah.
I was wondering if Kim's going to maybe have to start setting up that Stoutland ASAP though, because these Archeops might not be hanging around long.
Yeah, it's. I think Brendan's put himself in a really good position, and that's why we're starting to see this amazing rare Raikou just come to the active spot now. If there's another escape rope played at some stage, there's also that Cramorant to kind of bounce and jump back into. It looks like an energy recycler. See the energy recycler for maximum value. Look at that, getting all those energies back. That's 6 at the moment. Is it 5 energy recycler? So yeah, one quick choice. I believe it is 5. Yeah, it looks like he's targeted 5. Lightning energy stays into the discard, and the 5 do get shuffled. But of course, he's going to have a Mirage Gate to easily pluck them back out of the deck, get it attached to the active, and just needs now the lightning energy to be able to use that amazing shot attack, which does deal 120 to the active Pokemon, but it also deals 120 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. But of course, there's currently that Manaphy sitting pretty on Kim's side of the board. But just by taking out an Archeops, that's it's a great play.
it's very often you hear an attack that needs 3 different colors that only does 120 active being really valuable here. But I guess when you're hitting for weakness and you're KOing a stage 2 Pokemon that attaches 2 special energies from the deck, it's really strong. And looks like back over to Kim. Putting down to 2 prize cards here. And Kim only has 1 Archeops to try and close this game out. Definitely possible by any means, a fantastic player. But Brennan's really done well to get himself in the scenario here. We can definitely close this game out and win.
Yeah, I think Kim there was just double-checking the number of Mirage Gates that have been played. So it looked to me like there's been 4 already out on the board. So 1 in the Lost Zone and 3 played in the discard pile. 2 that were used for the Amazing Rare Rayquaza earlier. Now the Amazing Rare Raikou had 1 used for it as well. So Kim's probably thinking, well, you're kind of out of resources from that perspective.
Yes.
Of course, from Brennan's side, that's then when he needs to figure out how he can utilize his other attackers like the Saber. And Brennan there not really showing showing a lot of emotion as he's kind of just beginning to work out what Kim's own game plan is as well.
I mean, if you're looking at it on face value, right, Kim's gonna KO the Raikou with Archeops. Has got the Charizard there to close, to take some more prizes later on. So that's going to force Brennan to try and close the game out with a combination of Cramorant and Sableye, since there are no Mirage Gates left. However, Sableye can't KO the Archeops in 1 turn, can't KO the Charizard in 1 turn, and it can't even target the Manaphy. So it's actually really, I can see it being quite hard for Brennan to actually close this game out, at least in a fast way. But Kim's on 4 prizes, though, has got a 2 prize card disadvantage, but Kim doing everything he can to make sure the Sableye can't just close the door on him. Yeah,
the question is whether Kim's Pokemon are bulky enough to kind of survive any sort of attacks from Brennan's side of the board now, because, like I said, it's just 2 prize cards remaining for Brennan. He's so close to tying up this series that he's just got to find that last final piece. And yeah, Kim's sort of just double thinking. He doesn't want to give up an easy prize in any way, shape or form. You know, that he's probably thinking that, is there any more surprises in Brennan's deck? Of course, you know, a lot of us are aware of the type of list that Amazing Rare Rayquaza and Lost Box versions, what kind of cards are typically in there. But you never know. Just like Kim has a surprise in his list, Brennan could have one in his own, so he's just got to be careful.
I think he was debating whether to like take a Lumineon there or grab a Stoutland and Lumineous Sign. Let's see what this grabs here. Is it going to be a Oh, I don't mind that, actually. That makes a whole ton. Oh, the boss! Oh, what would you boss in? The Sableye? Would it be the Sableye?
Yeah,
if it has to be, right?
Just kind of removing the attacker, but at the same time, that Raikou does still
pose a threat, right?
Yeah, at least to those Archeops. And Manaphy, if he wants to bring that up with a boss, which Brennan does play as well. There's the Primal Turbo. It looks like it probably will be going to Luminion, because I don't think he's ever going to leave that on the bench for Brennan to be able to potentially knock out. So there's the Aurora Energy, just the Aurora Energy.
Must have DT in hand. Maybe we're going to see like a boss into Sableye, pay retreat on the Archeops, into the Aqua Return, promoting Charles. No, we're not. We're just going to see
just a Speed Wing to knock out the Raikou. And now it's over to Brennan, but
wow.
Well, if Brennan's position, he's probably not able to knock out that Luminion either.
No, definitely not.
Not in this current position with all the Mirage Gates currently used. So maybe has had to overextend with those Mirage Gates. There's a scoop up net from the Flower selecting, but yeah, I think it's put himself in an awkward spot purely because of that scenario of using multiple Mirage Gates already to take down that big Lugia V-Star. Earlier, and then also one of the Archeops already.
And there we can see that I think what makes Lugia so powerful is that it can basically transition from a 2-prize deck to a 1-prize deck really fast. Like, as soon as that Lugia went down, Kim has just been throwing up, for the most part, 1-prize Pokemon, utilizing Aqua Return to even remove Luminions when possible. And that's what Brennan can piece together here. He's going to have to try and close the game out with a combination of Cramorant and Sableye, but I'm trying to work out, I'm not sure if it's possible to win at least in 2 attacks, right? I don't think it's possible.
There's a few concerns, because if Brennan starts trying to target down that Luminium V on the bench, you know, we're just going to see an Aqua Return, right? So he does need to maybe find a way to remove this Archeops in the active spot. but his big attackers just won't be able to be powered up in any sort of quick time right now because of the already multiple uses of all the Mirage Gates. There's the second amazing rare Raikou as well, but it will require 2 turns, at least 2 turns to power it up. The only other way is that Raihan already in hand. So yeah, he's just shaking his head a little, not giving the best poker face right now, just trying to identify if there's any route to coming back. And say coming back, he's ahead on prizes.
Yeah,
and we're saying it's like he's behind, but in theory, just on this scenario, he's actually ahead. But there's no way right now for him to potentially find those final 2 prizes.
Yeah, he's just sort of coming up short, maybe at the finishing line here. And the thing is, even though Brennan isn't, like you said, the commanding position, Kim is taking a prize card every turn. Right? Has the potential to even throw up 160 HP basic at attack next turn. Can Aqua return to remove Illuminion? The mana fear at the wash has been so crucial because that's just stopped Brennan from able to target it down, and that's been like that both games for Kim. Looks like Brennan's opting to use some ordinary rods, but you're right, without having that sort of explosive burst with Mirage Gate, Brennan just can't power up these amazing rare Pokemon that, in theory, could close the game out for him, but without those Mirage Gates, it's just not going to be possible as Brennan plays an ordinary rod to shuffle in. I'm trying to work out what the win con is here for Brennan.
Yeah, at this current stage, he will need multiple turns to power up an attacker or power up 2 attackers. He does have the Sableye, of course, but yeah, he still needs to power up multiple attackers. And it's just not ideal, particularly when, you know, you want to be reacting to how your opponent is playing. Does need to attach the energy from the discard first, but yeah, that's kind of that's fine. So there's the Metal Energy attached to the Amazing Rare Raikou, and now can go through his deck to search for any one-off card. But I guess that's why it's such a difficult decision right now, because he knows he's on a bit of a back foot simply because he's just running out of the resources. So that resource management becoming another massive thing that a lot of top players need to consider.
Especially in a deck like Lost Box, where as you can see right now, the Lost Zone is currently at 13, so like a quarter or a fourth of the deck, is currently in Lost Zone, just unusable, can't use it. And there we see the Air Balloon, because Brennan still needs to get this Comfey out of the active. So I imagine we're probably going to see a Spit innocently and then try and finish off with Sableye, and then try and finish something else off later on. Then see the Spit and see 110 damage. And back over to Kim. What's Kim going to try and manufacture here? He's going to try and take a KO. He's going to retreat in KO with Aqua Return. Could retreat in KO with Charizard even. There's a whole lot of options.
Yeah, he just needs to set up his board so he has multiple attackers to essentially do 3 back-to-back knockouts, right? So this Archeops can take, as long as he powers up his other 2 Pokemon on the bench, that other 2 attackers on the bench, he basically just lines up attackers from his side of the board where he's just going, there's nothing you can really promote that would protect, that would take a hit and survive. So, and then Kim still also has access to things like the Stoutland and the Primal Turbo.
Boss's orders in hand as well, so we know that can go hunting on Manaphy, for example.
I think that's an instant Primal Turbo of 2 powerfuls onto the Stoutland V as well. Again, identifying Brennan doesn't have that reach to take a knockout on a V Pokemon, which means that now that he's used the Primal Turbo, all he needs is 1 more energy to attach to that Stoutland, maybe a boss, and you know that will close out the game. And this Archeops, he doesn't really need it anymore. He can just attack with it, and then it's on Brennan to find a way to just take 2 more prizes before Kim's able to just double dip Fang for something small, like one of those Manaphy's or Comfeys, or even the Sableye.
Yeah, Sableye, Comfey, Manaphy, all of those work. We know Kim has the boss orders in hand as well. So it looks like he might be opting to maybe play the boss now.
Just remove the attacker.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not sure if maybe Brennan has another Raihan or something like that to kind of, again, repower it up again. Of course, now does put himself to also 2 prizes. Yeah, theoretically, Kim's board. He doesn't have another attacker yet. Just obviously needs 1 energy attached to either of those Pokemon. As Brennan gets an easy flower selecting choice there. It's always a little scream for joy when that happens, when it's just a battle VIP pass you have no longer use for. But it's just a really awkward spot here for Brennan. Can take out the Archeops here, does have the Sableye ready to go to sprinkle some damage on it, But then the question is, what next?
I think Brennan has to carry the Archeops because you can't allow that Statler to get final turn. But here you see another VIP battle pass.
Back-to-back, Flower selecting about VIP passes.
I think you have to carry the Archeops, and your win con is just Kim hasn't got energy. That's the...
Oh, yeah, energy,
It's energy, I believe, at that point, right? So I think you just have to hope and pray that's what happens.
Well, yeah, I guess he can use the Cramorant to attack, and then the double dip fangs won't be
that works
available.
as well, yeah.
But does choose to go for the Saberline. I think, this is the more ideal scenario. So it brings up
strand the Charizard, forcing more outs from Kim, and that's what you have to do in these scenarios. You just play your outs. So I try and think, what's the least possible thing my opponent can do, and then try and make them do that, right?
I think, like you said, ask your opponent those questions. You need to get this? You need to get this energy to be able to take the win here, or potentially take the win here. Because now, obviously, Kim won't be able to attach 2 energies in his turn, so it's not like he would be able to use a random non-Aurora or Heat energy onto this Charizard and be able to attack. It's the case of...
This is actually super impactful. Kim needs to win next turn.
He's got Heat energy in hand.
And
Aurora. So it does have the attackers to go. So simply, there's not much he needs. Is there much more he needs to do other than attach, attack, and then next turn attach, attack?
I mean...
of course, the Charizard is only 1 prize remaining with Brennan, so probably can't use that
just
Charizard
attack
now.
with it, so...
I mean, the Heat adds extra HP. But then, it's a little bit of a tricky spot. So fair play to Brennan for finding finding one route to potential victory here. I think, like I said, despite being ahead in prizes, his back was up against the wall, but he's found the best possible percentage here.
Yeah, Kim, really interesting actually, because Kim in ideal world needs to try and remove the Charizard and then attack, but I don't think that's going to be possible. It doesn't play a Bird Keeper, right?
No Bird Keeper, no switches.
You can't Chauvin's Care Fire type, so that Charizard is going to stay there. It does have the Heat Fire and Aurora in hand, so can't just attack with it.
Yeah, adds HP with that Heat energy, of course.
Does the Heat energy put outside range of Spit Innocently though?
I don't think it does. So just the 30 HP, so 190.
That's a risk.
So still got 110 HP remaining. So it gets 20 HP more, so it's on 180 minus 80, so it's only 100. And then, so he's bossed up the Manaphy here. But I wonder what he's going to be able to do from this scenario. So if he takes the knockout, that Spit Innocently can just retaliate. He's just passed.
Yeah, he just, wow, hope that Brennan didn't have another energy. Wow, what a game there from Brennan. Like I said, like you said, just making Kim answer the questions. Got Brennan out, a little cheeky smart stuff. I got away with that one, didn't I?
We saw all the emotions Brennan went through with essentially his poker face. But he has been able to take game 2 and level the series to 1-1. What an interesting, almost chess match, I'd like to say, because it really swung back and forth. It really felt like Kim was working out all of those outs that Brennan may have, worked out that there's no more Mirage Gates, so there's no more big attackers. He's in a good spot. Brennan looking like he was lost for what direction he could take it in, but just by that one boss for that Charizard has been able to seal the win there.
Yeah, no, and that's where you see the sort of strength of Lost Box, right? I mean, Brennan really wants to utilise the big, hefty, energy-hungry attackers like a Rayquaza and the Raikou. But then saying, well, I haven't got my Rise Gates anymore, but I tell you what, attacks for cheap, Sableye needs 1 and Cramorant needs 0. So being able to just transition to there and really finding those late-game win cons. And like I said, that's what we have to do in these late-game scenarios. What these great players will do is like identify their possible routes to victory and then try and execute them. And fair play to Brennan managed to tie the series up at 1-1.
Yeah, it's, when you're playing this particular version with that amazing rare Rayquaza, you, as you mentioned, you want to be taking big knockouts. You want to take multiple prizes with these big knockouts. And when you can only really do it once on the Lugia V-Star, it becomes a little bit inhibitive. And when you're being protected against by the Manaphy from Kim's side of the board, the amazing Raikou doesn't really do enough. It can take some big knockouts in the active spot, but when the bench is protected, it just means that it kind of levels the playing field from that means, and gave Kim a bit of an opportunity window. Maybe that benching of the Charizard wasn't necessarily ideal because it's one card that just doesn't get a chance to maneuver out of the position. But at the same time, it took Brennan a lot of time to try and figure out, that direction. And fair play to him. He worked at it. it was probably minuscule percentages that he was kind of really working out in his head there.
Wow.
And it paid off.
Look at those prize cards. Sorry for Kim. I mean, there's not a lot of time left in this game, but Kim has prized Manaphy, Stoutland, and Dunsparce all at the same time. So if Brendan can get some turns in here, Brendan's got to run amok, actually.
Yeah, and started the Evo Tour in the active spot as well. You know, as a big, bulky retreater with 2 retreat costs needing. It needs a lot of energy to attack, so it's not really efficient in this particular matchup. Yeah, Brennan's position would actually be, if you looked at it right now at least, a bit more favorable. Yeah,
definitely in the driver's seat with those pass cards. As Kim actually ultra balls away at Boss's orders, leaving him only 1 to work with. Not getting rid of an Archeops there for that ultra ball, which is something you normally like to see as a Lugia player.
Discards one of the DTEs, which typically you might have to use to retreat the Yveltal out of the way. But I guess one of the few things that you sort of notice, particularly as a Lost Box player, when you're playing in rounds where you don't necessarily win a long game 1, they tend to tie, or you know, it's very hard to finish 3 games when you're playing Lost Box. And this is kind of the scenario now where, time is currently ticking down. There's not much available. Kim may be looking for the opportunity maybe to bench Brendan out, but of course Brendan going second, has access to flower selecting, access to supporters. The likelihood of that is very low. So both players kind of showing the pure power of their decks. You know, in game 1 we saw Kim really show off that Sharon's Care and how to maneuver sort of this matchup, and then game 2 Brendan sort of really forcing answers out of Kim and just making his way through. As we do see that pass over to Brendan, there's a flower selecting as well, and
flower
a
selection,
available. So, and there's at least 2 Pokemon there with the Quick Ball and Sableye, but chooses to lost on the Sableye, so it doesn't matter.
You like to think, like you alluded to, time was probably, imagine this will probably go to a time. But Brendan's done is actually fill his bench just to make sure there won't be no bench out strategy, but maybe opt in trying to try and find a VIP battle pass, but at least finds 1 basic Pokemon here. With this Quick Ball, maybe it's probably try and find Greninja. Nope, it's going to find flower selecting Comfey. Just try and see more cards, don't mind it.
Yeah, he still needs 1 more Pokemon at the very least, because Kim could go Amazing Rare Raikou and just double knock out
exactly.
the 2 Comfeys. But I imagine there's going to be a way where Brendan will be able to find out as well. As we do see the second flower selecting there after a scoop up net on the active. Plenty of cards already in his hand, and there's another Sableye. Would he want to give that up theoretically in a normal matchup? No, of course. You want to be able to utilize it, or at least one of them where you can. There's the Air Balloon to the active. There's a Manaphy.
I think time just been called there, I believe.
Just confirmation. I think both players, just a little respectful spud there to say, it's gone to time. Good games. Both players taking 1 game each. So it does mean it's tied for round 4 feature match.
Yeah, and I think, similar to the last round, that was quite a fair representation. I think both players played extremely well there. Game 1, Kim, you've been able to utilise those tech cards and sort of teased us the little Boss Cologne play, but didn't quite give it us. And then in game 2, Ben, I think, piloted that so well. I think if you're a newer player wanting to learn Lost Box, you need to watch that game too, because that was an absolute masterclass there from Ben. And really sort of getting up from the ropes to force the tie there, getting 1 more match point each. As they try and make their march to day 2. Both these players definitely day 2 caliber players. Yeah,
both players now at a 3-0-1 record, so putting them on 10 points so far after only 4 rounds with 5 more to go. Both players just need that special 19-point number to make it to day 2. So good luck to both players. We saw them showcase their decks already on stream now as well. It's such an interesting thing to kind of consider, particularly from Brennan's side. Like, you saw the emotions that he went through when he understood that his Mirage Gates are all gone as well. But, he stuck with it. He started to work out other directions. A lot of players maybe at that point maybe would have downed tools and been like, I don't really know what to do here, but he utilized his other attackers really well, and then was able to force Kim up against it with all those questions he was asking, and Kim didn't have any answers.
Yeah, and I feel as if that could be a testament to just how many games Brendan has of a deck, because the more games, the more reps you have with a deck, the more scenarios you put yourself in. So I'm sure this wasn't the first time that Brennan has found himself with no Mirage Gates in the late game and thinking, how do I navigate my way out of this? And maybe he's been in that situation before, realised, okay, I need to utilise Cramorant Sableye, boss something up, try and strand it, try and sprinkle around the Sableye. That's exactly what he did, and I feel as if managed to get the tie there where, if it wasn't played, 100% correctly, might have given Kim the win, as it were. So fantastic play there from both players as it ends in a tie.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe Brennan, if it went to, in game one, if it went like that, would he maybe have scooped a little bit earlier and thinking, there's not many chances. But, like I said, it was a tie, but great play by both players.
Yeah.
We're just going to quickly cut away to the champion spotlight, just to give you guys a bit of insight and dive into our previous winner of Bochum Regionals. Stay right here.